Humanity had reached the stars quietly. There were no great speeches, no galaxy-shaking wars, and no loud claims of dominance. Human ships moved slowly from system to system, building stations, mapping trade routes, and learning when to stay silent. Older civilizations barely noticed them. To the ancient empires, humans were brief visitors in a universe that measured time in thousands of years. That peace ended on an ordinary day above Earth. Astronomers first thought the object was a sensor error. A massive structure appeared just beyond the moon's orbit without any warning signs, no engine flare and no detectable approach. One moment space was empty, and the next it was not. The object was smooth, dark, and shaped like a crown floating in silence. Every human satellite turned toward it, every telescope focused. Every defense system went on alert, though no one truly believed Earth's weapons would matter. Then the message arrived. It did not come through radio or laser. It appeared directly on screens across the planet, translated instantly into every human language. The words were simple, calm, and terrifying. "Prepare yourself, human. You are summoned by my daughter." The message carried no name, no threat, and no explanation. Yet something in the tone made it clear this was not a request. Governments froze. Military leaders argued. Scientists searched for hidden meanings. None were found. Within minutes, a second transmission followed. This one was private, directed to a single person. Commander Elias Rook was reviewing fleet logistics reports when his display changed. He felt no fear at first, only confusion. The face that appeared was not human. It was tall, symmetrical, and glowing faintly with soft lines of light that shifted like living patterns. "I am Queen Valith of the Aurelian Dominion," the figure said. "You have been chosen." Elias sat still. Years of training kept his expression calm, even as his heart beat faster. "Chosen for what?" he asked. "You will learn," the queen replied. "You will come alone. You will bring no weapons. You will obey the summons." The screen went dark. Elias did not sleep that night. By morning, Earth's leaders had already made their decision. Refusing the summons could mean destruction. Accepting it might mean the same. But humanity had learned long ago that fear alone was not a strategy. Elias was not a famous hero or a decorated battlefield commander. He had never led a charge or fired a weapon in anger. He was chosen because he thought differently. His record showed an unusual talent for solving problems that had no clear answers. He questioned assumptions. He adapted quickly, and he remained calm when others panicked. If anyone could speak for humanity, it was him. The alien vessel sent a small craft toward Earth. It passed through atmosphere without heat or sound and landed outside a secured facility. Elias stepped forward as doors opened on their own. Inside, the craft was clean, empty, and strangely welcoming. As the doors closed, Earth disappeared beneath him. The journey lasted no measurable time. There was no sense of motion, no pressure, and no stars streaking past. One moment Elias was leaving home, and the next he was arriving somewhere impossibly far away. The doors opened onto a vast chamber of pale light. Elias stepped out and felt small. The hall stretched farther than he could see, its ceiling high enough to hold cities. The floor reflected soft colors that shifted with every step. Tall figures lined the sides, standing in silence. They were not hostile, but they were not welcoming either. Their eyes followed him with open curiosity. He realized then that he was the only human in the room. At the far end stood a raised platform. Upon it sat the queen. Queen Valith was larger than the others, her presence commanding without movement. Light traced the edges of her form like a living crown. When she looked at Elias, it felt as though she saw every decision he had ever made. "You are smaller than expected," she said. "So is my planet," Elias replied calmly. A faint ripple passed through the court. It might have been surprise, it might have been amusement. "You stand before the Aurelian Dominion," the queen said, "a civilization older than your species." Tell me why you should be allowed to remain alive." Elias took a breath. This was not a trial of strength, it was a trial of meaning. "Because I am here to listen," he said, "and to learn why your daughter asked for me." The queen's gaze sharpened. "You speak carefully," she said. "That is wise." She raised one hand and the chamber changed. Stars appeared around them, spinning slowly. Ships moved between systems. Then the images shifted again, showing battlefields filled with wreckage and silence. "For thousands of years," the queen continued, "we have maintained order. We predict threats before they rise. We end wars before they begin. Yet now something moves beyond our sight." Elias studied the patterns. He did not interrupt. "Our enemies act without logic," the queen said. "They strike where no calculation suggests. They retreat when victory is assured. Our models fail." The stars vanished. The court returned. "My daughter believes your kind understands this failure," the queen said. "She believes humans possess value beyond their weakness." Elias understood then. This was not about diplomacy, it was about desperation. "And you do not agree," he said. "I do not," the queen replied. "I believe my daughter is mistaken." A new figure stepped forward from the shadows. Princess Salith was unlike the others. Her movements were precise but curious. Her eyes focused not on Elias' posture, but on his expression. She studied him as one might study a puzzle. "Mother," the princess said, "he has not disappointed me yet." The queen did not turn. "This human is untested," she replied. "His species is young." "And adaptable," the princess answered. "They survive not by control but by change." Elias felt the weight of attention shift. He realized something important then. He was not a guest, he was evidence. "You will remain," the queen said finally. "You will observe. You will speak when spoken to. If you fail to justify your presence, this will be the last place your species is remembered." Elias nodded once. "I understand," he said. As guards escorted him from the chamber, Princess Salith walked beside him. "Do not mistake this for mercy," she said quietly. "You are here because the future is breaking and no one knows why." Elias looked ahead, not at her. "Then it's a good thing humans are used to broken futures," he replied. For the first time since he arrived, the princess smiled. Far behind them, unseen by any human eye, the queen watched in silence. For the first time in centuries, uncertainty had entered her empire. And it had arrived wearing a human face. The place where Elias was taken after the royal chamber felt less like a prison and more like a test. He was given a private section of the palace, wide and open, with walls that shifted color slowly like a calm ocean. There were no guards inside, but he could feel he was being watched at all times. The Aurelians did not need visible chains. Their control was subtle. Within hours, information began to arrive. Floating light panels appeared in the air, showing battle records, star maps, and tactical data. The amount of information was overwhelming. Entire wars were displayed in moments. Fleets moved, clashed, and vanished. Numbers and symbols shifted faster than any human system Elias had ever seen. This was not kindness. It was pressure. The Aurelians believed that if humans were truly useful, Elias would adapt. If not, the data alone would break him. Elias sat on the floor and watched quietly. He did not rush. He did not try to understand everything at once. Instead, he focused on small details: timing, direction, behavior. He ignored what the Aurelians focused on and looked at what they ignored. Hours passed. Then days. Members of the court came to observe him. Tall figures stood behind invisible barriers, whispering among themselves. They expected confusion, frustration, or fear. Instead, they saw patience. Princess Salith visited often. She did not speak much at first. She watched how Elias worked, how he paused the displays, replayed moments, and sometimes turned the data off completely to think. "You are not calculating probabilities," she said during one visit. "No," Elias replied. "I'm asking why your enemy wants you to calculate at all." She tilted her head slightly, a gesture of curiosity among her people. Our war engines predict outcomes, she said. They have never failed before. Then your enemy learned how you think, Elia said calmly. So they stopped thinking the same way. That answer stayed with her. On the fourth day, Elias was summoned again to the royal court. This time, the chamber was full. Representatives of allied species filled the hall. Military leaders stood near the queen. Massive holographic displays hovered above the floor, ready to show proof of failure or success. The queen watched Elias approach. "You have reviewed our data," she said. "Speak." Elias stood alone before beings who ruled systems. "Your enemy is not random," he said. "They are reacting to you," murmurs spread. "Our predictions account for reaction," a high-ranking commander said. "You predict reactions that make sense to you," Elias replied. "But your enemy is shaping their behavior around your expectations." He raised his hand and the displays changed. He showed moments where enemy fleets retreated instead of attacking, where they abandoned valuable positions, where they sacrificed ships without clear gain. "These are not mistakes," Elias said. "They are messages." "Messages?" the queen asked. "They want you to trust your models," Elias said, "because your models are slow to change." Silence followed. Princess Salith stepped forward. "What would you do differently?" she asked. "I would stop trying to be perfect," Elias said. "I would stop trying to control everything." The court reacted with visible discomfort. "Our strength is control," an elder said. "And that is why you are predictable," Elias answered without anger. "Humans survive because we are not." The queen studied him for a long moment. "You claim your chaos is strength," she said. "It's not chaos to us," Elias replied. "It's flexibility," she gestured sharply. "Then prove it." The lights dimmed. A full battle simulation formed around them. An Aurelian fleet faced the unknown enemy exactly as it had many times before. "You will command," the queen said, "using our resources." Elias took a breath. "Then I will break your rules," he said. The simulation began. Instead of forming precise formations, Elias divided the fleet into uneven groups. Some ships advanced early, others arrived late. Communication delays were introduced on purpose. Orders were unclear by Aurelian standards. Gasps echoed through the chamber. "This is inefficient," a commander said. "Watch," Elias replied. The enemy reacted as expected, moving to exploit the apparent disorder. But that was the trap. The human-style fleet did not collapse when attacked. It shifted. Groups retreated suddenly, drawing the enemy into false advantages. Others appeared from unexpected angles. Elias did not aim for total victory. He aimed for confusion. The enemy's movements slowed. Their attacks lost rhythm. Their predictions failed. Within minutes, the simulated enemy fleet began to withdraw. The chamber went silent. The simulation ended. "That outcome is statistically unlikely," one of the elders said. "Yes," Elias agreed. "That's why it works." Princess Salith turned toward her mother. "He did not defeat them with strength," she said. "He defeated them by refusing to behave as expected." The queen said nothing. Later, as the court dispersed, Elias was escorted back to his quarters. Princess Salith walked with him again. "They will resist this," she said quietly. "Change threatens them." "I know," Elias replied. "It always does." She hesitated. "You are in danger here," she said. "Not from enemies, from pride." Elias looked at her. "Then why keep me?" he asked. "Because if you are right," she said, "the Dominion survives. If you are wrong, I will be blamed." "And if I'm right?" Elias asked. She met his eyes. "Then the galaxy will never see humans the same way again." That night, Elias looked out at an artificial sky filled with stars he did not recognize. He felt the distance from Earth deeply then, but he did not feel regret. Back in the royal chamber, Queen Valith stood alone. For the first time in her long reign, she questioned her certainty. The human had not shown power. He had shown something far more dangerous. A different way to win. The real war began 3 cycles later. Until then, Elias had only worked with simulations, models, and controlled scenarios. The Dominion had watched, argued, and tested his ideas in small ways. Some commanders supported him quietly. Others openly disliked him. To many in the court, he was still an experiment that had lasted too long. That changed when the warning arrived. An enemy fleet appeared at the edge of Aurelian space, larger than any seen before. It did not move like previous forces. It did not probe or retreat. It advanced with calm purpose, as if it already knew the outcome. Panic spread through the command councils. Traditional plans were activated immediately. Fleets were recalled, formations prepared, and prediction engines brought to full power. The old methods were familiar and comforting, even though they had failed before. Elias was summoned to the command chamber, where Princess Salith and several senior commanders stood around a glowing star map. "They are not slowing," one commander said. "Their movement suggests total commitment. They expect us to respond the same way," Elias said. The Queen's voice echoed through the chamber. "This is not a time for experiments," she said. "Our fleets will engage as they always have." Princess Salith turned toward her mother. "Mother, this is exactly the moment for change," she said. "If we fight as before, we will lose as before." The Queen's silence was heavy. Elias spoke carefully. "Give me a small force," he said. "Not your main fleet, just enough to disrupt them." Several commanders reacted at once. "You ask us to weaken ourselves," one said. "I ask you to stop playing the enemy's game," Elias replied. The Queen studied the map. Then slowly she nodded. "You will have one mixed fleet," she said. "Aurelian ships and allied vessels. If you fail, responsibility will be yours alone." Elias accepted without hesitation. The fleet he was given was imperfect by design. Ships from different species, different command systems, different strengths. To the Dominion, it was a weakness. To Elias, it was an advantage. He gathered the captains through a shared channel. Many looked uncertain. Some looked offended. "I will not give you perfect orders," Elias told them. "I will give you intent. You will make choices." This was deeply uncomfortable for Aurelian officers who were trained to follow exact instructions. "When in doubt," Elias continued, "do something unexpected." The fleet moved out. When they encountered the enemy, Elias did not order an immediate attack. He allowed delays. He let ships drift out of formation. He even ordered one group to retreat early. The enemy reacted instantly, pushing forward to crush the retreating force. That was when Elias struck. Hidden ships appeared from behind asteroid shadows. Allied vessels attacked supply lines instead of warships. Communication jammers activated in irregular pulses, not enough to block signals completely, but enough to distort timing. The enemy hesitated. For the first time, their movements showed uncertainty. The battle did not end in total victory. Elias did not try to destroy the enemy fleet. Instead, he broke their rhythm and forced them to withdraw. The cost was real. Several ships were damaged. One Allied vessel was lost, but the enemy retreated. When the fleet returned, reactions were mixed. Some hailed Elias as a success. Others focused on the losses. In the royal court, arguments erupted. "You endangered our people," an elder accused. "You disobeyed standard doctrine," another said. Princess Salith defended him calmly. "He saved far more lives than were lost," she said, "and he proved the enemy can be pushed back." The Queen listened without speaking. Later, alone with Elias, Princess Salith allowed herself to show emotion. "You did it," she said quietly. "They felt it. They'll adapt," Elias replied. "This isn't over," she nodded. That night, political pressure began to build. Several noble houses accused Salith of weakening the Dominion by trusting a human. They claimed Elias was manipulating events to elevate humanity. Some demanded his removal once the war ended. Elias became aware of the danger quickly. "You don't have to protect me," he told Salith during one of their strategy sessions. "I knew the risk." "I brought you here," she replied. "Your fate is tied to mine now." The enemy returned weeks later, this time in greater numbers. The Dominion prepared for a decisive battle. This time, the Queen made a surprising decision. She placed Elias as strategic coordinator for the combined fleets. The court reacted with shock. "This has never been done," an elder protested. "It has never been needed before," the Queen replied. Princess Salith looked at her mother, understanding the weight of that choice. The final battle was chaos by design. Elias did not attempt to control every ship. He created shifting objectives. Fleets attacked, retreated, regrouped, and changed targets constantly. The enemy could not lock onto a pattern. The battlefield became unpredictable. Enemy ships collided with each other while trying to respond to false signals. Their formations broke. Their confidence collapsed. As the battle reached its peak, the enemy command structure failed. They retreated in disorder. Victory spread across the fleets like a shockwave. Cheers filled command channels. Disbelief followed, then relief. Human methods had worked again, but triumph came with consequences. In the aftermath, Elias was summoned, not to the Queen but to a closed council of nobles. They accused him openly. "You have altered our way of war," one said. "You have placed our future in chaos," another added. Elias stood calmly. "I didn't create chaos," he said. "I revealed it. The universe is already uncertain. Humans just learn to live with that." The council was divided. Princess Salith arrived before a verdict could be reached. "This human saved our dominion," she said firmly. "If you punish him, you admit fear." That stopped them, for now. Later, on a balcony overlooking the stars, Elias and Salith stood in silence. "You put yourself at risk for me," Elias said. She looked out into the void. "I put myself at risk for the future," she replied, "and for the truth." "What truth?" Elias asked. She turned toward him. "That humanity does not need to conquer the galaxy," she said. "You only need to exist in it." Far away, the enemy watched and learned. And for the first time, they feared something they could not predict: a human mind. The war was not finished, but the balance had changed forever. The enemy did not return with weapons. They returned with silence. For weeks after the final battle, the borders of the Aurelian Dominion remained quiet. No probes, no raids, no hidden movements. To many commanders, this felt like victory. To Elias, it felt like the pause before a difficult choice. "They are thinking," he said during a strategy meeting. Princess Salith nodded. "They have never stopped before." The Queen listened from her elevated seat. Her expression was unreadable. Then the message arrived. It did not come as an attack or a threat. It came as a single transmission directed to the heart of the Dominion. The enemy requested contact. The court reacted with confusion and anger. Some demanded an immediate strike. Others feared a trap. The Queen raised one hand and silence returned. "They will be heard," she said. The meeting took place in a neutral space between stars. A single Aurelian vessel arrived, carrying Queen Valith, Princess Salith, and Elias. Across from them waited an enemy craft unlike any before. It was smaller, simpler, almost fragile. The being who appeared on the screen was not monstrous or cruel. It looked tired. "We misjudged you," the enemy representative said. "Not your strength, your nature." Elias watched quietly. "We built our strategies on certainty," the being continued. "On prediction, on control. We believed those who mastered the future would rule it." The Queen said nothing. "But your human broke that belief," the enemy said. "He does not predict the future, he adapts to it." The enemy paused. "We cannot defeat what we cannot predict," it said. "So we choose another path." "What path?" Princess Salith asked. "Withdrawal," the enemy replied, "and peace." Shock spread through the Aurelian delegation. "You surrender?" a commander asked. "We accept limits," the enemy said. "And we accept that humanity has changed the balance." The transmission ended. Back in the Dominion, reactions were mixed. Celebration filled the streets of allied worlds. Some hailed the Queen's leadership. Others whispered that the princess had gambled everything on a human and won. But not everyone was satisfied. Within days, political pressure reached its peak. Noble houses demanded answers. They feared the future Elias represented, a future where control was shared. Where certainty was gone, the queen summoned Elias one final time. He entered the royal chamber alone. "You have done what no one else could," Queen Valith said. "You have ended a war that threatened us all." "I didn't end it alone," Elias replied. "You allowed change." She studied him carefully. "My daughter believes your species is essential to the future," the queen said. "Do you?" Elias thought of Earth, of humans spreading quietly through the stars. "I believe humanity is useful," he said, "not because we are better, but because we are different." The queen nodded slowly. "There are those who fear that difference," she said. "They will never stop." "I know," Elias said. The queen rose from her throne. "Then hear my decision," she said. "Humanity will be recognized as an allied power. Protected, respected." Relief passed through Elias, but the queen was not finished. "You will return to Earth," she said, "not as a ruler, not as a symbol, but as a reminder." "A reminder of what?" Elias asked. "That the galaxy is no longer predictable," she said. "And that is not a weakness." Princess Salith stepped forward. "Mother," she said, "there is one more matter." The queen turned to her. "The human," Salith said. "He is not safe here, nor would he wish to be." The queen's gaze softened just slightly. "Then he will go," she said, "with honor." The departure was quiet. No grand ceremony, no public farewell. Elias boarded a human vessel provided by the Dominion, its systems enhanced with Aurelian technology. Princess Salith stood with him at the ramp. "You changed everything," she said. "We changed it," Elias replied. "Together." She placed a small device in his hand. "A direct channel," she said, "for when the universe breaks again." Elias smiled. "I have a feeling it will," he said. As the ship left Aurelian space, Elias looked out at unfamiliar stars, then closed his eyes. When he returned to Earth, he did not receive a parade. Humanity had learned humility long ago. Instead, he was welcomed quietly, listened to carefully, and questioned deeply. He told them the truth, that the galaxy was vast, that ancient powers existed, that humanity was not the strongest, but it was adaptable. Over time, human advisors were invited to councils. Human explorers were welcomed instead of ignored. Human unpredictability became something others planned around. A new saying spread across the stars: "When plans fail, call a human." Far away, Queen Valith watched reports flow in. Trade increased, conflict decreased. The galaxy did not become peaceful, but it became flexible. Princess Salith often stood beside her, watching human ships pass through shared space. "They do not seek control," the princess said. "No," the queen agreed. "They seek possibility." Years later, when another threat appeared beyond known space, the response was immediate. Not fleets, not prediction engines. A message was sent. "Prepare yourselves," it said. "A human is coming." And for the first time in the long history of the galaxy, that message brought hope instead of fear, because humanity had not conquered the stars. They had taught the stars how to change. "Prepare yourself, human," decreed the queen. "You are summoned by my daughter." Sci-Fi Story.